little pigs, let me come in. Not by the hair on your chinny chin chin. Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in. Here's Johnny. I see.
Well, hello. Look at who we have here.
Yeah, I know. It's been a while.
Yeah. The prodigal son. Is that fair?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Especially in regards to YouTube as well.
Yeah. It's
I think I'm the one they don't want to come back there.
And I know you've got some plans for him. I just read quickly your description on your new channel. As a matter of fact, I don't have the link. I'll put that in the. It's in the description. The link to your new channel.
Oh, okay, brilliant.
Yeah, but I'll also put that in chat too. So everyone, give them a follow there. Let's all migrate back to the new channel and keep doing it. As long as they keep trying to silencing us, we just have to keep getting back on the saddle.
The more they do it, I believe, the more obviously if we bounce back stronger. So let them carry on.
Yeah, I mean, we could go on and on about this, and we'll. That's one of the things I want to talk about tonight is the censorship. Unfortunately, some people are, are still denying it. We'll even snicker at the idea if you bring it up. But yeah, I mean, it's a very real thing. It's overwhelming.
Yeah, I can see my moderator as well on my last channel. She's up on there, Give the Gospel of Jesus.
Yeah, she's awesome. Yeah, speaking of, I've got this thing going on with, actually, you know about that too. The, what is it? Not Give Some Go, but,
GoFundMe.
Yeah, GoFundMe. Thank you. Yeah. See, I'm half asleep. But GoFundMe, man. Like, I should have known. I'm really embarrassed by it, and I'm sick by it. Like, she'd give me all kinds of funds, like over $100 toward a purchase of a new computer, which I really need. And it was just, anyway, long story short, I kind of messed up. I saw that it was not going anywhere, so I decided I'll just go ahead and get this other thing that I needed, external HD, which really helped me. but that was like half-assing it. I was like, well, I don't feel comfortable diverting funds, and even though she was okay with it, I was like, I still need a computer, so I left it in the gray area, and they went ahead and they did automatic refunds, which I'd be okay with, but in her case, like she used gift cards to donate, so now that's a problem, and communicating with them has been difficult. All I've got his email and haven't responded yet. So hopefully they do the right thing and either refund her money fully somehow, or put the funds back in my account. But it's it's embarrassing. Anyway, enough about me. And I feel horrible. I mean, I feel more into it. Hopefully it gets resolved.
Yeah, I received an email as well saying about they were going to refund me, but I don't know. It was ages ago, but surely it's all messed up. I've worked with GoFundMe before, where I did a fundraiser for my dog vet bills, and that was a pain as well. But getting hold of them, like you said, is just just impossible near enough.
And I've been saying that since at the end of the 20th century. But this whole back then, it was new to not have any offices where you could just go and talk to someone in person, and then that way, if they got out of the line, you could just snatch a knot in the ass, as we used to say.
So you always end up talking to robots nowadays. It's annoying.
Exactly. That's even worse. I mean, back then, around the turn of the century, the commercial was in the States. We had the Slav pretending to be English, and just basically stonewalling people and say, as a guy, a bearded guy going, "Hello, my name is Peggy," right? So that was the character. And we were complaining about that, but I mean, I'd have that way over the AI. The AI is like, absolute bad. But anyway, and that's all like what we're covering tonight, basically, and then some. That's what they've done. They've taken away our interaction with each other, and therefore any accountability. And what are we going to do about it? There's no regulation.
No, and well, even worse so here in the UK, if you speak up against it, you're getting locked up now. So
other countries in Europe too. America's got laws in place. Canada. I mean, it's a global. I mean, we know about the Far East, the Communist Chinese, the Japanese, and their credit score system. I mean, goes on and on. As Muslims, I mean, they're the worst for centuries upon centuries upon centuries.
Yep. We might as well. The way things are going, the way they're talking about banning alcohol at workplace events, and they're talking about blasphemy laws in the UK against Islam and stuff like that. So we might as well just roll over and say, implement Sharia law. You may as well.
Right.
It's happening anyway.
And we've both been saying that. Like we just recently met online a couple of years ago. But before that, years before that, both of us were saying the same thing from different experiences. Like mine was just, actually, in Greece, I had gotten involved in the historical mass migration myself firsthand. I was at the Greek borders helping the Muslims get through, being a do-gooder. Back then, I was still ignorant of Islam and completely bought into mass media, conditioning, brainwashing, and thinking, I'm going to do the volunteering as a Greek American, soften my heart toward Muslims. And it was an eye-opening experience because interacting with them firsthand, I was seeing things that I was not hearing about on the media. And I was like, man, what is wrong with these? I was trying my best to bite my tongue. It's like, okay, maybe it's my head, maybe it's just a few instances. Well,
yeah, no, it's unfortunately it's right across the board of them. It's just the majority. I mean, of course, and I've always pointed this out on every time I comment on Islam or Muslims as a whole. I always say you will get the minority that do integrate, that do fit in, that will be okay, and they'll work, and they're decent people. Probably some of the nicest people that you could meet. However, the majority, they don't want to integrate. They don't want to fit in. They would like to replace whatever you have with whatever they want, and that's the problem. And we're seeing that especially here in the UK now. I mean, I know in the States they've got a problem with the Mexicans crossing the border and stuff like that. You wait until it's the Middle East starts coming over. Because
Well,
when you see what's going on here, wow.
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Again, I witnessed the migration in Greece. I knew what was coming because of what I got involved at a time where the borders were still open, and then yeah, about a few months of my getting involved, the policy had changed. The Slavs closed their border. They trapped everyone in Italy and Greece, which I think is by design. And so right away I saw, like, you know what, they're bringing these people with intent, and I was saying back then, this was like 2015, 2016, like, this is the new Gestapo that they're bringing in.
Yep.
Yeah. As the 21st century, society worldwide had really softened up. Everyone was like getting along splendidly, except for the U.S. Barack Hussein Obama's influence of the civil unrest, the Rise Up movement, which later became BLM. But outside of that, people were getting along quite splendidly. So they needed someone savage to continue their anti-Christian, immoral behaviors and corporate policies and these kinds of things. And that's what we're suffering these days.
Yeah, definitely. One thing I've seen a rise on recently, because as well, if you go back to 2015, 2016, around that period of time, there was a lot of people who were not Christian that were letting people mock Christianity, especially the Muslims,
Yeah.
and the atheists too got involved, and they used to persecute the Christians just as much as the Muslims. I was one of them. However, what we're seeing now is people calling themselves cultural Christians. So they're people who are not exactly Christian and attend church or have anything to do with Christianity as a religion, but because they understand now that the nation that we live in was built on Judeo-Christian principles and values, and they don't want to, they're waking up to the whole idea of the establishment and Islam trying to reinforce Sharia law on us. They're now standing up for the freedoms, which is kind of good, because in the back of it, you're getting people asking questions now. What is actually Christianity? What is it? Who am I? And they're asking the serious, deep questions, which they should have asked themselves anyway. And what we're seeing now in the UK, especially, is people coming on board with Christianity, or at least defending it, which is rather interesting, but good at the same time as well. You've gone silent, Nico.
It'd probably help if I muted. My bad. All right. So, on that note, yeah. Yeah, let me share a presentation, which I know people hate my broken record antics about media, but, I don't think it can be overstated, the influence it's had worldwide in a very short period of time, especially when we look at world history as a whole. I mean, 1 century in world history is nothing, but in 1 century, look at the devastation that's done. And then enter mobile internet, which has only been a decade, and look at what that's done. Leading up to the lockdown.
Definitely. There's definitely a platform where, I mean, the internet is good and it's bad. It can be used for the force of good, but it's mainly used for the force of bad, unfortunately. Especially when misinformation comes into the matter. Because that's what inevitably caused the majority of the problems we've had recently with the protests. And now it's seeing people locked up, tighter restrictions, our freedoms being removed. But yeah, it depends with the internet, I suppose, who's using it, and for what reason. But there we go.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said about that, and a lot of the Christian apologists that are polemicists, exposing Islam, doing good work there. They do argue, well, the media has helped in that battle a lot drastically. So, I mean, yeah, certainly, I mean, even a gun can be used for good things, for hunting and so on. It's not necessary even for hunting, but it's helpful. But, you
Yeah.
know, it's also certainly a double-edged sword, you know, pun intended.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so let me go real quick. I'm just going to try to zip through. The first thing I want to cover with this stuff is let me take down that comment. Okay.
I
All
love
right.
the
So,
picture.
sorry. Oh yeah, yeah. Thanks. Yeah, I try to put all the elements of you in one, so it worked out fairly well. It still needs a little touching up, but yeah. And for those that don't know, that is actually a Patriotic Christian, all of which, I mean, including the MMA glove, the military guys, him,
Oh
of
yeah,
course. Yeah,
yeah, it's a mix.
yeah. So, um, yeah, and as we can see in this image and what you're going through in the UK, this past, it's been a month now, huh? All hell
Yeah,
breaking loose over there. Yeah,
yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's still going on, but it's calmed down a lot. Definitely,
oh,
the media's not covering most of it now.
that's good to hear. That it's calmed down. That is.
Yeah, but
Um,
then again, it's only gonna stay calm for as long as there's no attacks, serious attacks. And we've seen in the past, well, just today there was 2 stabbings, where 2 people lost their lives. And then the other day there was an 11-year-old girl and her mother stabbed outside a shop in broad daylight in London, outside a Lego shop. And of course, we had the main one, which happened in a nursery where a young lad went into a nursery at a Taylor Swift yoga class or dance class or something and stabbed many children. 3 of them died, all under the age of 9 years old, I believe. And 2 adults that were the teachers, that were female, also got stabbed. They managed to survive. But yeah, so that was what triggered it off mainly, and then the police were very slow to release information about the suspect. So whilst there was that pause of where no information was being given out, some people took it upon themselves to release misinformation. And of course, we're far too familiar with the Allahu Akbar attacks here across the West. So many are going to believe if someone says that it's someone who's from that demographic who is the suspect, they're gonna believe that it's true. So someone did make up a name and it circulated the social media platforms,
mm,
and before long people were taken to the streets kicking off, and then a mosque got attacked in the process, and then there was a hotel that was set on fire with the migrants inside.
wow.
Yeah, it was incredible. And I think now around 900 people have been arrested in total, and loads have faced prisons sentences. But our prime minister did a emergency type broadcast type thing on the television, and he said that he would do everything in the power to stop this far right movement that are speaking up against immigration and to protect the Muslim community at whatever cost. So that triggered an even bigger response from the British public, because he labeled everyone who is against immigration, well, illegal immigration, not just immigration, but illegal immigration. He labeled them all far right thugs, and then said, on the other hand, that he would protect Muslims at whatever cost, which is usually the cost of the
Right.
British taxpayer. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And
he brought it on himself, really.
yeah, I mean, just so much to be said there. And you'll be going more in depth in that, I'm sure, on Eric's stream after this one.
Yeah.
About an hour and a half from now. Um, Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say, man. It's just, it's sickening, but again, unfortunately, it was anticipated. I like to
The
talk
worst
about.
thing about it all, as well, with whilst that was happening, is and it's funny because Sky News, they got caught doing it, and there was another news reporter doing it as well. They were reporting on the far right at the protests, so talking about how many people there are, what they were doing, where it was, etc.
Mm,
And whilst they were reporting, there was Muslim gangs walking past with 2 foot long machetes, swords,
um,
hammers, axes,
wow.
and they were caught on camera live on TV, and they didn't say a word. And then eventually, Sky News had to get out of there. Their car got set. One of their reporters' car got set on fire, and they got chased out by the Muslim gangs. So, but that didn't get reported until days after.
Naturally.
So, yeah, it is incredible, and it was one of those clips of what happened, which I uploaded onto my YouTube the other day, which got the channel terminated.
No kidding.
So,
And I think I saw that. I think I remember thinking, oh man, I better get a copy of this before it gets, and son of a gun. I didn't do it. Arr.
yep, yep.
You know, and I was about to ask why this stuff isn't going viral. Well, there you go. YouBoob is covering it. Socialist media is hiding it. It's lying. They are the disinformation,
That's
and
it.
they are pro-pagan, anti-Christian. What else needs to be said there?
That's why even the Prime Minister Kier, he said himself that they'll be working with Ofcom and YouTube, Google. They'll be working with all the social media platforms to make sure that any disinformation or misinformation doesn't get used. But he also said that those who are involved with the protests, either directly or indirectly, even behind a computer screen, will be dealt with severely. So that's why we're seeing people who are liking streams or sharing a video from the riots will warrant a prison sentence, a custodial sentence.
Hmm.
That's what's going on here, and you wouldn't if we was to say what's going on now, and we said this was going to happen 5 years ago, no one would have believed it.
I know. I've been saying it for longer. I've been saying it for a decade, and everybody was treating me like dirt because I was saying it.
Exactly. Yep. And we even spoke about. I remember the live stream we did covering, the American services that were that have just purchased WWW. And what they were doing with it, and they were going to be censoring, doing the stuff that we're seeing now. And again, no one believed that. And look, well, it's there. The NSA, they've took over. They've took
Hmm.
over the internet.
Yeah, exactly. And I did a stream about that, warning people days in advance. Hey, NSA is taking over. Things are about to drastically change. It's already bad enough as it is now. It's going to get even worse. And here we are.
We called it. Well, there we go.
Yeah. Yeah, and as far as the border in the south, it's not just Mexicans. That's actually, I'm probably being a little biased here, but that's kind of a media play there. It's everyone south of the border and their mother, and that
Yeah.
actually includes people from the east, in the Far East. That includes people like Muslims, people from Africa, of course. I'm going to throw an of course in there. They even caught, and this is like a comic book, man. It's like a heavy metal magazine, surreal. They caught Chinese communist spies going through the southern border.
Yeah.
As if, I guess going through the Canadian border is not popular anymore. It's just easier to go through the Mexican border. I don't know. Or cheaper, maybe. Pesos.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah. What are you doing, man? It's just, I don't know. It's insane. It's like, it's so unbelievable. You know what to laugh, cry, or what?
But it's we've seen quite a lot, especially in regards to crazy stuff. Obviously the Trump assassination as well. That was just another. Everything's gone times 10. I've noticed since we last did a stream together. Everything has gone AWOL. Everything's gone AWOL.
In just a few weeks. I mean, and this is another thing. I was expecting another what do they call it? Not Summer of Love, but just basically when the BLM riots broke out, they're calling that the Summer of Love. And many of us were anticipating that this would be another repeat of that, but in this way. And here we are. And even with Kamala Harris, last minute bid for presidency, we called that too. And here we are.
Yeah.
The President Trump assassination attempt, called that. I mean, it's just like bad theater, man. Like it's like predictable, it's cheesy as hell, but yet here we are going through it.
We called most of the things that were going to happen. I remember saying not so long ago about someone will eventually try and take Trump out, and not only that, we already know what's going to happen in regards to, well, with this immigration, if it keeps going on the way it is going, and obviously the rise of Islamism, and the threats of Sharia law are getting more likely by the day. And people are beginning to wake up to it, which finally is what we wanted. But like, it is frustrating when you try and warn people
Right.
for so long that what's going to happen, and you point it out and it happens, and then you point something else out and you keep doing it and you keep being proven to be right. However, they still don't listen to the new warnings that you give them. It really does get my goat. I say my brother's watching.
Yeah, and that's something that everyone refers to as the Yuri Bezmenov interview and what he warned about. But that was even way before. I mean, a century before we knew about this brainwashes, classical conditioning, and it's how it works. And
it's that 1984 that interview that Yuri did.
Yeah, some 80 something, mid 80s, I think it was.
It's crazy. So we knew back then, and I mean, obviously, I watched that interview years ago. And then we even put it on the stream, didn't we? We've shown it on it here.
I can't remember probably.
Yeah, you couldn't write it, but we know what's to come anyway. I mean, there's other people as well that have spoken on this. Douglas Murray, for one, and he's been targeted recently as well. There's people calling for him to be arrested for simply the book that he written years ago, saying the fall of the West or something like that. I can't remember the title, but again, same thing. We said this would happen if we keep having the level of immigration that we're seeing happening at the moment here, and not just in the UK but in the West as a whole. Problems are going to happen. Social cohesion's going to just go berserk.
Yeah. Let me just add on that for people that are watching this, waiting for their aha moment. See, he's a xenophobe. No, you're not saying that we should have no immigration, we should have no interaction with people or anything like that. Nothing of the sort. We're saying, and all of us are saying the same thing. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. It's not that they're coming over, it's how they're doing it and what the intention is behind it.
Yep, exactly. And I mean, what we're seeing, this is what I will say to people. People say, "Oh, you're racist. You're a racist. You don't like this and you don't like that." And I said, no, listen, it's not about that. The problem what we have is the levels of the immigration that's coming here, and not only that is what we're seeing. We're not seeing women and children who, when war breaks out, men go to war. Women and children stay at home or they flee, right? And what we're seeing is boats filled with fighting-age men coming here, throwing their documents into the channel whilst they're on their way. So they're unvetted, they're unprocessed. We know nothing about their backgrounds, whether they're murderers, rapists, pedophiles. They could be anyone. We haven't got a clue. And most of them have done some sort of training in the past with the military. So we don't know if they're tied with terrorists or organizations. And they're coming here and then they're being placed in 4 or 5 star hotels at the expense of the British taxpayer.
Yeah.
Or any taxpayer in whatever region it is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, that's exactly right. Yeah, and took yours right in my mouth. I mean, this is happening, everywhere. And what kills me, and I'm going to pick on Americans here for a minute. I know we whatever get anal retentive when people speaks the truth about that. But I hate to say it, Muslims make some valid points with their arguments about the West. Okay, brace yourselves here. All right, so we've got Americans going on and on about, quote, the Europeans, parroting mass media and feeding right into the BLM critical race theory nonsense when they do that. And I hate that crap. Meanwhile, in America, we've had a Barack Hussein Obama, 2 full terms.
Yep.
And that was years ago. That's practically going close to a decade ago. Yet they're going on, well, look what the Europeans are doing. Look, the Europeans are doing this. The Europeans are doing that. 1, where are your roots? 2, come on, man, as Biden and ESPN like to say. Yeah, this is not something that's started now. This is something that's been in the making for decades upon decades. And some of my work on media shows that. I'm going very back to the beginning of Hollywood. Jews put together a movie called The Sheik in 1922, I think it was, which was promoting Islam. And look at all the pro-Islamic things since, including all kinds of promotion of the Arabian Nights stories, Alibaba, and on and on. I Dream of Jeannie TV show from the 60s. That was, a cornerstone of television and establishing the mindset of people. Cartoons, the list goes on and on and on, pro-Islamic stuff. And we allowed it, all under the banner of open-mindedness.
Yep, and tolerance. And that's one thing that Britain's well known for. The British people are very well known for their tolerance. And there is tolerance, and then now people are beginning to notice that the patience is wearing thin. So we can be tolerant by all means, but we still do have patience. And at the moment, what we're seeing is the British public, especially the majority of the British public now, their patience has begun to wear thin.
Yeah. So on that note, I know we have you for about another hour and you need to go and get prepared for your next stream with Eric. Also, by the way, you're going to be a busy guy. So if we don't have time to cover these things, I'd like to have you on if you have time. But I know you're going to be doing Paul Sutliff on a Sutliffing report. Can be set up with Osama Doc. A couple of guys you mentioned you can have on your channel you can be interviewing. Is that right? Or are you going to be going on theirs or both?
Yeah, so I'm looking, well, I've already spoken to him. So I've got Don Keefe, who is an American patriot. He'll be coming on to my channel to have a discussion about some of the problems that we're facing at the moment. We agreed on that when I met him in London at the rally on the 27th. And then there's Bishop Kai Dewar. He gave an incredible speech at the Tommy Robinson rally. He's about muscular Christianity, or more masculine Christianity, if you like. So instead of pussyfooting around everything, he says it how it is. And the speech he gave in Trafalgar Square at the rally held by Tommy Robinson was absolutely incredible. It was hilarious as well. But yeah, he's a good guy. So he'll be coming on as well. And there's many others that are, obviously Paul Thorpe, I'll be going on there again soon in the future. And yeah, we're going to be busy. Like I said, we're currently bouncing back. The old channel that's been terminated, I have done an appeal. So I've spoken with Google today, and there's going to be an internal investigation to see if the third strike that I had was actually warranted, because it was done by a bot. So it wasn't exactly done by a person. So hopefully they may reinstate it.
It sounds like YouTube's like, oh, they got caught with the thumb up their anus, and now they're trying to backtrack. To me, I could be wrong, but I don't know.
Yeah,
like BS
I very much doubt the channel will be reinstated. But if it doesn't, I'm gutted that it happened, because obviously I've had that since 2013, and you have your own private collection of videos you save, and then the ones that you make and the shorts that you remix, things like that. It all adds up, and then what it's because of what it's over is you try and be careful of what you say, what you do, what you put up, and even then they find something to pin against
Right.
you,
Exactly.
and then you're done, you're finished.
And that's why I don't even bother to self-censor anymore. They can kiss my ass.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
as a character from a TV show, Alice used to say, "Kiss my grits."
It's my
Yeah,
grits.
yeah, um, yeah. So anyway, yeah, I'm done with self-policing, and shame on all of us for doing that. I mean, that's how we've allowed them to do what they've done for generation after generation, our self-policing.
Do you know what the weirdest thing is as well? Is that they got rid of the channel. I started receiving these strikes from YouTube the moment that I put up my campaign, which was which I'll still be looking to carry out, obviously within the next 2 years. So it was the prohibitions and new laws that I'm willing to pursue against Islam here in the UK, and that's banning books like Heavenly Ornaments and Reliance of the Traveller.
Wow.
Then new laws on some of the anti-Christian and anti-Jewish rhetoric that's found in the Quran, versus preach with violence. Then looking at deportations of those that are linked with terrorism. So all these new laws that I've written in this campaign that I'd set out, I published on my community part of the channel. And then I also started talking about setting up a protest to close the borders, a peaceful protest. And the moment that I started talking about that, that's when these strikes came in. And it was for videos that were already on the channel.
Hmm.
So, but we know it all too well anyway, because we've had likes go missing, haven't we, in the past?
Exactly. All kinds of things, man.
We've had comments go missing. What else? Subs go missing. You name it. It's YouTube's always had from day one a problem with what we talk about. So
Yeah. And I've been saying, and I'm still saying to all the Christians, get together, class action lawsuit. What the hell are you waiting on? It's real frustrating. Yeah. Oh man, I don't know. I've got so many. I got so many too. I got to add to my arsenal, even though I've got like 24 little clips, and I've got so many. I don't even know when I want to pull one up. I don't know what to do. So I've got too many toys to play with. Is what I'm saying. But I'm gonna add that clip for the waitress from the TV show Alice. Kiss my grits. I'm gonna use that one a lot. It'll keep me from swearing anyway and offending people. All right. So,
I love that that bit you've made with me and Mohammed Ajab.
oh yeah, let's show it again for those that missed it at the beginning.
Little pigs, let me come in. Not by the hair on your chinny chin chin. Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in. Here's Johnny.
Yeah, it needs some cleaning up. I use free software and last minute and all that, but yeah, it's all right.
No, it's brilliant because I'll tell you what, he's still hiding. It's the fact that he's hiding behind that door. And there are so many videos that even Jono and Amy from Speaker's Corner, they put a clip out of the video where I was calling out Mohammed Ajab on June the 1st in London, telling him let's have it out. Let's sort this challenge that you're putting out there, Mohammed Ajab. Let's get it on. Let's have a good ruckus like what you've been asking for with a Christian apologist, and we'll have a debate after. And still no response. There must be at least 10 videos, maybe 15 on YouTube that has been forwarded on to Mohammed Ajab personally by many people, and he's yet to respond. And it's simply due to the fact that someone has actually said they are willing to do it. He's asked people that live in the States to do it. Someone like David Wood, Sam Shamoon. They're not going to travel over to the UK to have a little bitch fight with Mohammed Ajab. They're just not going because they got better lives to live. Whereas me, I don't mind it because I don't like the guy, and I personally believes he deserves a slap for some of the stuff that comes out of his mouth.
Yeah.
So,
You know
I'm
who
all
I
for you, Momo.
yeah. You know who I like the most. And again, we're not this is all, as the Muslims say, it's all a metaphor what we're saying right now. We don't literally mean it. It's a metaphor. So I
Yeah,
metaphorically want to beat the hell out of Ali Dawa, metaphorically speaking.
yes, never win that king that way. I'll tell you, I'll do the power of them. Mohammed Hijab, I'll tell you what, we'll update the challenge. I'll accept the challenge of fighting everyone, and you can have Ali Dawa holding your hand or feeding you
Uh,
grapes like they do with
oh,
Dawa.
hell no, hell no. I mean, that guy creeps me out I mean, that's why I can't, he makes my skin crawl. It's just, I'll look at him and I can't help but think Drino. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, what's up with the eyes, dude? Like, what kind of stuff is he doing?
It looks like he's constantly manifesting, doesn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
For real, man. It's like, it's
It's
disturbing.
like haunted Tupperware.
Oy vey. All right. So, real quick, I want to just go through some of the things that, again, I haven't done a stream myself in a couple of weeks. I needed a break. My last live stream was I started doing a series on Eddie Murphy because of the movie the reboot that just came out, Beverly Hills Cop. And yeah, I did it just 2 weeks into it. I was going to do like maybe a half dozen. By the second week, man, I was already raw and started manifesting myself. Like I started, like the media was getting into me. That's part of the plan. They want to drive us crazy, and it was taking its toll on me. So I had to take a break. I mean, if you watch that live stream, you can see me starting to say some nasty stuff, and like, uh-oh. I mean, when I could hear myself speak and say that stuff, I knew it was time to just back off. So I'm still trying to recover.
Yeah.
But anyway, so some of the things that happened in a couple of weeks. The Paris Olympics ceremony that people talked about. And again, we had like a couple of Olympics ago, we had the UK pro jab ceremony opening.
That's it. Yep.
Yeah, with the angel of death, all kinds of crazy stuff. I mean, it's all pagan, it's all sinister, and they're all, this one even had like a little girl right there where the S is. I can't zoom in, unfortunately, on here, but yeah, the one wearing the third to the left, wearing the yellow, that's actually a little girl. I mean, that's the MAPS thing, right? I mean, they're not only promoting this sadistic stuff and being anti-Christian, but they're pushing for pedophilia. Where are the arrests? The people in his libraries and his schools, the trannies approaching children, and all that. Where are the arrests? People, I'm calling on you. I'm not calling for violence. I'm calling for legally, lawfully. If your state has a citizen's arrest law and you see a pedophile in the action, arrest them. If the cops won't do their job, you do their job for them. Arrest them and force the authorities to do their job. Put it all over media and do what you have to do. Get together and stop the evil. No one's going to do it for you. Stop with the group thinking, waiting for someone else to do it. Enough's enough. And yes, Jesus Christ is going to come and do his job, but he didn't tell us sit on your hands till I come.
Exactly.
You save as many as you can. I'm sorry. Breathe. See what I'm saying? I need a break. All right. So yeah, I mean, and now the rationalization here is that, well, this is really a Hindu thing, so therefore it's okay. What? What kind of excuse is that?
See, I didn't watch this. I mean, I'm not really into the Olympics anyway, but I don't watch mainstream television. I stopped all that ages. I don't even have an antenna going into the TV.
Yeah.
But I did hear about this because it was that bad. It was on every single independent channel and news team or independent journalists were talking about this, about the opening ceremony and how demonic it was. Even those who were not Christian were saying this is demonic, clearly. And when it gets to a point where we've gone past the conspiracy theories and people have woken up and people are saying, actually, this is really weird. Why have they done this? This isn't normal. This is clearly a hit against Christianity, especially with the Last Supper and stuff like that. Even GB News did a hit piece on it, you know, telling them that they were bang out of order for what they did. And it wasn't, I mean, they did a small little apology, but it doesn't make up for it because the damage has already been done. But what they'll do is what we've seen with what happened with Budweiser when they had that Dylan Mulroney or whatever his or her name is, whatever you want to, I can't remember. I think it's Dylan Mulroney, I can't remember. But you had that transsexual come on and advertising Bud Light.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, the profits plummeted. It'll be the same with the Olympics. The more go woke, if like they say, if you go woke, you go broke. So carry on doing what you're doing.
Let me just address that, and this is actually pushback, not at you, but everyone who's saying what you just said. I'm gonna call that an excuse. A lot of people make the mistake of saying that money is the root of all evil. That's wrong. It's the love of money that's the root of all evil.
Yeah.
To put it in perspective, you can be poor and still be spoiled.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying here, I'm trying to premise that, you know, the money is not the thing that's driving these people. They don't care if they lose. For one thing, and I know a lot of nations have a similar accounting system that America does. And so when these entities, these orgs, lose money, then it becomes a tax write-off, and then the taxpayer covers it anyway. So there's no actual loss, number one. Number two, everyone that's involved already gets paid by salary. And number three, anything above that is bonus. It's icing on the cake. They could take it to the next project. So not by any means are they losing money. They have nothing to worry about. And even if they were, it would still be considered going an expense toward their agenda. But they're not losing money either way.
Yeah, exactly.
So let me say how far back this is going. This is from the 1970s. Mel Brooks, History of the World, Book 1. I actually got a clip. Let me see if I could, let me bring that up real quick. Yeah, one of them was, okay. All right, so let's play a little game, a little break from this presentation here. We're going to play like Where's Waldo, except for Waldo, we're now looking for Al-Hassan of Ali. This is Mahomo's nephew. For those in those circles might be familiar. But before we get into who that is, let's play a little quiz. We'll do a trivia / Where's Waldo. Let's see if we can spot Ali, Al-Hassan.
Bark like a dog. A big dog.
Okay, I'm sorry about all the weird audio. I had to go back and edit it because of YouTube and the copyright nonsense. But originally it was, oop, there it is. You know. Yeah. So, but that was anyway. Yeah. So, which one do you think was Hassan?
Let me guess, the one with the feather got rising up.
Yeah, and the tongue that went like, I don't know, have a third of a meter long, whatever how long it was. Yeah, so So Al-Hassan was a tongue-sucking character. For those who are familiar with the hadith and the different circles of different people that talk about that Mahomo, is blessed to apparently suck on his tongue and get quenched by his saliva, especially if you're a little boy.
Yep, that's thanks to Islam.
Yeah. So this is why the anti-Christian, communist, pagan left, the not right, show solidarity with Islam, because they have the same evil heart, the same evil spirit, the same evil lust for sinister, wondrous behaviors. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, enough adjectives. All right. So again, that was a clip from this Mel Brooks movie, History of the World. And you see one of the scenes here. He's, at the Last Supper, and he's painting the scene. And as a servant, he comes in and he gets behind it. And now he's holding up his server's tray behind Jesus. So it's not only mocking the Last Supper, but it's mocking his divinity.
Yeah, mocking the halo. Yeah, well, yeah, the divinity behind it. Yeah.
I got to point this out too, especially these circles who love to be Zionists, and I'm going to go quite sick of it. Why are Christians pointing to David and not Jesus Christ, number one? Usually, or not usually, but sometimes it's people that are doing that happen to be married to a Jew. I mean, do you remember the Bible quote, fundamental Bible quote, early in the Gospels, where John the Baptizer or John the Forerunner, he was in the wilderness, and he was shouting, what was he shouting? He was shouting, repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand, except for the Jews. The Jews have an exception. Remember when he was shouting that?
Yeah.
No, he wasn't shouting that.
No. I was saying prepare when he was preparing the way for the Lord. Yeah, and he said, repent. The kingdom of heaven is I remember that, but not for the except the Jews, obviously, no, because he was calling the Jews, of course.
Yeah. So what happened 2,000 years later? All of a sudden, we're making an exception for the Jews.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Never.
Well, it happened because guess what Mel Brooks is? He's not Muslim. He's not atheist. Guess what he is?
What, is he Jewish?
Oh yeah. I mean, again, Hollywood is founded by Jews, and the ADL will call you an anti-Semite if you try to now deny it. So it switched. But yeah, most of Hollywood has been Jewish up until recently. Bricks has been taken over slowly since the late 20th century and so on. So, but anyway, yeah, this is the kind of stuff that we've allowed them to get away with. And especially because of the ADL, especially around the turn of the century, it became a thing where you can't say anything about the Jews, or you get sued, or you'll have your bank account frozen, or whatever the case may be. Like yay. Right. So, but enough's enough. Point to Christ, call out sin, regardless of who you are. Sin's a sin. And if you're making exceptions for people, what are you doing?
That's it.
Da Vinci Code. This is based on a novel who at the very beginning of the book says, this is fiction. This is a work of fiction. Do not take this at heart. What did people do? They ran with it.
Yep.
Again, Last Supper. The Last Hangover. This is a foreign film. Look at the description, man. In the morning after the Last Supper, it's the morning after the Last Supper, and the disciples are waking up, hungover, and wondering where their Messiah is.
What does it say on the actual film, on the actual picture?
Yeah, that's what I just read. Yeah, sorry. I didn't have that bigger. I should have made this bigger, but yeah. And I can't adjust it. So, but anyways, that's what it says. Basically, it's the apostles that are hungover after the Last Supper. They're looking the Messiah has disappeared. That's the description. This is a foreign film, so it's not just Hollywood. It's a worldwide thing. Even Greece had in the 80s this actor who went by the name of Mustakas, the mustache man. Let's call him that, loosely translated. This guy did all kinds of blasphemous nun characters and all that. Made fun of priests in Greek movies. Of course, was all kinds of raunchy. That's how they sell it. Comedy / give have you buy in because they're flaunting sex at you. Well, you know what he did near the end of his career? When he was older and close to death. And this is common with actors that become famous, that have some clout, and they get too old or whatever to do movies. They end up doing this. They start doing voiceovers for Disney. This is what this Greek actor did.
Right.
Yeah, and that's so we know what Disney's involved in, right? Grooming. Yeah. We see there's patterns galore. Yeah. Sorry. Did you have a comment? I hope I'm not like if I'm going on and on, I'll let you talk. Just jump in, man, because when I get on my soapbox.
No, no, no. I was just reading the comments from Breakfast Gun saying it's Portuguese for Christmas special.
Oh, thank you.
So this
Yeah.
would have been aired possibly around Christmas. So just to rub salt in the wounds, they would have aired this over a festive season. Wow.
Idiotic. Yeah, that's just but say the truth about Islam, even using their own hadith or anything.
Well,
or
just
Quran.
criticizing now is what will warrant a custodial sentence here in the UK.
Yeah, and when you say criticizing, you mean just reciting, just like the guy did. Hey, she was 9 years old. That's a criminal activity.
There is a man who got jailed for 18 months simply for questioning the existence of God. And all he was saying in the protest was, "Who the F is Allah?" And just because it was a chant that many others were singing whilst protesting. So he was saying, "Who the F is Allah?" And basically, yeah, he's been jailed for 18 months just for saying that.
Wow.
First
All
offense
right.
as well.
First. Yeah. Meanwhile, like again, you can't even speak the truth. You can't even cite the Quran without getting in trouble or murdered by them. It's like I actually had an argument years ago. I didn't want to say years ago, just a few years ago, when again saw the pattern where it was going, and I was before all this happened. I was like, look, man, this homosexuality push, they're actually very soon going to be saying pedophilia is okay. And that was like a couple of years before it started happening, and I got and I got the response that I was expecting. The response that I was expecting was, well, you're not hurting anyone. Remember that? Oh, you're not hurting anyone, so it's okay. What?
Yeah, and then you got the flags, obviously, which we addressed in previous screens, MAPA, minor attracted persons. They got their own flag, which symbolizes the children's innocence, the gender that they're attracted to, and other disgusting things like that. But like in regards to what we were saying just now as well, with saying stuff against Islam or Islamism, they're now classing it as a type of racism. So if you say anything against Islam, the religion or the ideology, it's classed as racism. So you'd be labeled a racist immediately. And yeah, basically what I have against that is there are Muslims all over the world of all different colors, from all different countries of backgrounds, and Islam is not a race. It's like you say something. You say something against Islam, you're classed as racist. You say something against Christianity or do what the Olympics do, and mock the Last Supper, and it's supposed to be funny. It's supposed to be how society thinks. Apparently, this is what everyone would enjoy. So it's one rule for one and another for the other. That's why we say in the UK there's a two-tier, not just policing, but two-tier establishment that's going on here now. So yeah, it's fucked up to say the least. And excuse my French.
Yeah. So yeah, and exactly. I mean, and again, the other part of that is that, well, I mean, like that argument with my cousin and people like him, he was not a leftist, he was a libertarian, a gray area person. Yeah, well, it's not okay for me to say the F word, but it's okay to do the F word. What are you talking about? It's not okay for me to say British cigarette, fag, but it's okay to be a fag. What are you talking about, man?
Yeah.
What? So it's my question to these people that are passing this anti-Christian, hypocritical, fascist, ethno-cleansing dictatorship. What about the Muslims in their mosques that are reciting the same thing that we're reciting and exposing it? When they're in a mosque saying it, are they too going to prison? They're saying this very same words?
Nope. In fact, and then you get people like Mohammed Hijab openly talking about having sex with girls that are the age of 12 as long as their hips are in the right shape or size. That it's okay, that it doesn't matter, and that English laws or laws in the West are too harsh. So yeah, it's incredible. You can say stuff like that, and walk around with axes and baseball bats, machetes. And one of the videos as well that I seen the other day, before I forget about this, they actually had a police Muslim liaison officer, and instead of arresting someone for carrying an offensive weapon in public, they told all these Muslims that were geared up and armed up to the teeth, they were ready to go and literally stab up people, like take people's lives during a protest. And the police liaison officer, just because he was Muslim, told them to go back to the mosque, discard of their weapons there, and then go back out to the protest. So they were free to go. They could do whatever they want. And then we had the protest before, where there was an incident at Manchester Airport where a police officer, an armed police officer, kicked a Muslim in the back of the head whilst he was on the floor. Now the video went viral. However, what they didn't show was the moments before. And half hour before that, these Muslims that were kicking off, that got arrested and the one that got kicked in the head, they broke a female police officer's nose. Later, the actual footage of that was released. But then they protested, and these guys haven't been charged yet. They haven't been arrested. Nothing has happened to them yet. Those who have gone to protest about the immigration are already in jail. They've already had their sentences passed.
Wow.
So this is why people are getting ticked off.
Yeah.
And then when the actual chief of the Metropolitan Police was asked if there is a two-tier policing system in place, he didn't try. He actually knocked the camera and microphone out of a journalist's hands and got away with that too. So yeah, it's pretty fucked here in the UK at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So let's just that's part of the thing, of course, is the enemy wants to trigger our passions, wants us to give into the anger, wants us to be hateful and malicious and vengeful. We must resist. We must remain Christ-centered. And I know it's easier said than done, but easier said than done doesn't mean it's impossible.
No,
the Bible warns us that we will succumb, like some of us will succumb. We will fall to the enemy. And we're seeing this happening within ourselves, within each other, as the evil one manipulates, pushes our buttons, triggers us, and gets us to turn and do the bidding. I encourage everyone to. I want everyone to be active, but within the law, but first and foremost, what's kosher, what's Christ-like.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I agree with you on that.
All right, so let's watch this. So the slide that I was just showing was Late Night with Conan O'Brien. Late Night was a TV show that came after The Tonight Show later on in the late 20th century. It was first, anyways, it doesn't matter. I don't want to bore everyone with, but it's just really a really popular late night talk show. So Conan O'Brien is actually from Boston, from Brookline, elitist, very Irish. And one of his ongoing things was that he was, he's so white, white Irish, freckled guy. I would guess, and I think it's a fair guess, that he's probably a Freemason. If you know anything about New England, it's just saturated with masonry. So this is a skit that he did, one of many anti-Christian skits. But again, it's a full range. I mean, anti-Christian is anti-Christian is anti-Christian, regardless of, as one of our fellow dudes used to say, whether you're one of the brown, quote unquote, brown people, or white as Irish, or whatever the case may be, doesn't matter. A sin is a sin is a sin.
Exactly.
All right.
Hello, Hag Sameach. Hey, you saved me a seat.
It's for Elijah the Messiah. You're no Messiah.
Huh? What, have you been talking to my dad?
Oh, as Andrew Dice Clay. Andrew Dice Clay is another character, by the way. The character was about this Guido who was completely slimy, misogynist, just really horrendous. They even did a few movies on it, done by a comedian. The comedian, very Italian looking, greased up and all that, wearing the leather and all that. Guess what his ethnicity is?
Sure.
It's not Muslim. Sorry.
You see, do you know what makes me laugh is, when you see all these videos, like just what we're seeing now, someone dressed up as Jesus mocking Christianity or whatever. Just imagine if someone did exactly the same but was depicting the Prophet Muhammad. This guy would be jailed right now.
Yeah.
If not dead.
And we would be not hearing the end of it forever and ever. And that's just one instance. Now look at how many instances in this one skit. And Conan Bride did this pretty much every show, at least one skit. Him and so many others, countless others.
That's my 9th Manischewitz. I think it's time to drain the old shofar.
Okay. This doesn't sound very much like what some of the Muslims would say, speaking of Jesus. How many come onto the apology stream speaking just like this, mocking Jesus?
How you guys doing? Sorry I'm late. That rock on my tomb was heavier than I thought. Hey, check this out. Oh, pretty cool, right? Happy Easter, everybody.
Are you ready to give your Easter sermon?
Yes, but first let's pray. And with our eyes closed, like really closed.
Okay. So now we're mocking Easter and, comparing Jesus Christ to the Easter Bunny, which, I don't want to get into that.
I was turning wine into water. Yellow water. You know what I mean?
Okay. And it's ironic, just recently I've had a back and forth about the Eucharist and what it actually is. And, the miracle of turning the water into wine. Anyways, I don't want to get into that, but it's just heartbreaking how many Christians are lost, living in the gray area, removed from the truth. It's heartbreaking. It's frustrating, and it's really beyond words. And that kind of deviance from the truth leads to this.
Yep, it certainly does. But narrow is the path.
Yes, thank you. Say that again. Sorry, I played the video over you. Can you say that one more time for me?
I was saying, yes, definitely. I said, but narrow is the path, as Jesus said.
Amen.
Knows what I mean. Whew, tough crowd. Are you guys Ephesians?
We're just about to do the story of the Exodus.
Interesting. Well, I was about to Exodus to take this call. Pretty cool, right?
Okay, of course we got to do the ad placement for cell phones.
Yeah,
quite clever there. Yeah.
Sorry, I had to step out for a hair.
Oh.
Where were we?
Your Easter sermon?
Of course. You know what? I just got to collect my thoughts for 1 second. I'll see you guys a little bit later.
Did you notice his hand gestures? Just could be coincidence. Yeah.
It's kind of creepy as well in the way he's doing it. It's so cheesy as well. It's not even funny, I don't get me wrong. I'm not one of those that, well, you can tell because I swear like a trooper. But I'm not one of those. I'm quite a relaxed Christian. I don't take things too seriously. There's some Christian humor that I can get and I can roll with, and I don't take offense to most things. However, when it comes to stuff like this, if you're going to do a job like this, at least do a good one about it. It's like Jimmy Carr told a joke not so long ago. And he was basically pointing, I can't remember what the joke was, but he was pointing out that you could near enough do anything or say anything about Christianity. But the moment you say something about Islam or Muhammad, you're done. You're done. And he was exactly right. It was, he hit the nail on the head, and he come out with a Christianity joke, and he said, well, I had to do it with Christianity because if I chose the other faith, then I'll be dead. And I laughed. I thought, true, and things like that, it don't bother me, I can get on with it. But when you see stuff like this, it's like, really, what a waste of time. It hasn't even, what point are you trying to prove here? What point? It's almost like they're just trying to make being an atheist cool. Like it's the new thing, like Christianity is out of date and that atheism is just the new norm, when really it's not. You know, it's tragic.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So let me just for the sake of getting through it, we're almost done with this thing. And again, I just got to point out that they're making him look like a Easter bunny rabbit. Complete mockery.
I'm back for dinner, but I cannot stay, so I have to go. Bye-bye.
Even mocking Judaism. There's a movie, or there's been more than one, but there's one that I won't even mention. I won't even mention the actors' names in it. It's so blasphemous. It's so horrendous. It's so powerful in tearing you away from God, even if you're not Jewish, and it's about Judaism, making it look horrible. It's like Shapiro, Ben Shapiro, that lawyer. I'm not the biggest fan of his, but he made a point that I've been trying to make myself for a while now. And that's there's a difference between Jews and Hebrews. Jews are actively worshiping God. Hebrews are just Jewish by name.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're talking and laughing, right? What a good time, yeah. And then I'm leaving again. What?
Yeah. So Jesus is a hippie. What? Oh boy.
Oh.
Jesus Christ, what are you wearing?
Oh man, this is hilarious. He said, "Jesus Christ, what are you wearing?" Sorry.
Oops. Guess this might be my last supper with you guys.
Oh, Last Supper. Hilarious. I could do
Yeah,
that
that's
better.
what I mean. It's so, like, the jokes, the humor side of it is just crap.
Yeah.
It's
It's just basically absolute blasphemy, just hit disguised as comedy. That's all it is.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, Jesus! Coming soon to TBS!
Yeah, he is quite pasty though, isn't he?
mm,
All right. Yeah, I can't stand that guy. Another thing he did was the masturbating beer, another one of his regular routines. But this is a television show. Yeah, sure, late night. You can argue children are watching it, but give me a break.
that's what I mean. If you're gonna do jokes about Christianity, at least make them, good enough. Even I would laugh.
So, as I mentioned before, yeah, this is not just limited to Hollywood. It's a worldwide thing. This is a kung fu film. Yeah, the Holy Virgin versus the Evil Dead. So they're even mocking the Mother of God here.
Mocking the Theotokos.
Yeah, and I've watched. You rarely will ever see Christianity in kung fu films, but
Yeah, it's nothing to do with kung fu Christianity. That's what I mean. I don't see the parallels. All I see is an excuse just to mock it.
Yeah, I did see one where there was a character. It was like twins or something, and one of the characters was wearing a cross, and she was a good guy. The catch was that she was a zombie. So I don't know, good guy, zombie, I don't know, whatever. Anyway, going back to the case in point about people arguing that it's about the money and the money is going to make a difference. I'm not saying don't boycott them. I'm just saying keep it real. That's not going to stop them. It certainly will be a step toward the battle, but it's not going to change anything they're doing. As we see, Disney is continuing their malicious propaganda, regardless of making recent flops, especially through Marvel. And unfortunately, they came up recently with Deadpool and Wolverine, and that made all kinds of profit opening weekend. I mean, it's just disgusting, man. Come on, people. What's wrong with you? What is this? Yeah. But all right, sorry. Yeah, so here, this is one of the most expensive TV shows to make. Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power. It is the most expensive show made to date, actually.
Wow.
Yeah. And not only is it not showing profit, they're giving it away for free right now.
Okay. For now.
Okay. And who's paying for that? Well, it's not them. It's the taxpayer. It's a write-off, no doubt.
Mm.
Okay. Remember when, and it wasn't that long ago, when skin tone was not an issue? You know, not that long ago. It was actually right before Barack Hussein Obama, an opportunity to completely bury the hatchet, but instead we've got all this worldwide BLM rise up nonsense.
DEI, critical race theory.
Yeah. And as you see here, these are nuns, dressed as nuns. This is Hollywood trope, standard trope of making nuns look like a joke, the comic relief, but also evil sometimes too. You know, the collar, always evil, pedophile, you know. Okay, so this is Win Ben Stam's money. Guess what his ethnicity is? Oh, well, I mean, I guess the name will give it away, Stein. All right, fine. But
Yeah, could have been Cohen.
But all right, you know, yeah. So, anyways, but this guy, this was one of my favorite shows back in the day, Comedy Central. But I'm watching this now to kind of get away and talk about saturate. I mean, this guy was vile. I mean, and he's educated. He knows all kinds of things about religion. He was completely ripping into Christianity, of course, pushing, you know, all kinds of unsavory sexual stuff. So one of his questions, again, this is standard. Every show you're going to see at least one Christian bashing thing, at least one. In 1988, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that what magazine's parody featuring Jerry Falwell was permissible under freedom of expression. All right, so I get it. Jerry Falwell, some of us will call, he's not Christian, he's a fake and all that. The rest of the world doesn't recognize that. The rest of the world says he's a Christian, he represents Christianity, and therefore, ...
Wow.
Again, here, another game show. This is a survey show, another quiz thing. It gives you multiple choice. 100 men survey. After reincarnation, they were asked, after reincarnation, I'd like to come back as, well, a priest, an eagle, or a what? A woman?
Mm.
And this, I believe, was in the 1970s. But of course, it's stuff. Yeah. So that was the number one answer according to this talk show. You got to wonder who in the hell they polled, even if that's a real stat. But according to them, most men. Ooh, it's almost time for you to boot. Most men responded. They'd rather be a transvestite. Give me a freaking break. Speaking of transvestite, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? A very popular show on Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon, also known for its pedophile activities. A drag queen dresser character that appeared occasionally. You know, she would come out of the window and, you know, she would be the wise one, or it would be the wise one, I should say.
Yeah.
And again, this is a kids show on a kids channel, pushing cross-dressing or being transvestite or being a sodomite. Back in the 80s. Strangers with Candy, some ugly woman, like the manly, crazy older woman, she's like, I don't know, 50s, running around, you know, being with students, and Strangers with Candy. I mean, the title says it all.
Yeah.
Again, that's under the guise of comedy, so it's okay. This is a 2017 film, God's Own Country. You can see what this is about.
Yeah.
God's country. Well, look at her face. I think that says it all, doesn't it? She's basically hunting white men in this one. Hunters. The evil white hunters.
Wow.
Okay. And this goes back.
I'm just going to lock off the cam for a sec.
Okay. Yeah, and this goes way back to early 20th century. Man from God's country. Even, you know, you can argue it's not a Brokeback Mountain thing, but it's definitely a where did all the cowboys go kind of thing. You know, emasculation to the nth degree. Again, God's country. I mean, yeah. See the new flick, same as the old. I mean, this has been going on for a while. The difference is that now it's not only belligerent and obnoxious. To me, and it started years ago. It started around the mid 20 teens, where it's an implementation of the witch hunt for Christians. And we see that happening with all these cases, these MK Ultra Manchurian candidate cases of mass shootings and all that. And now with the activated Gestapo. Oh, by the way, Paul Sutliff has been showing clips where there's imams in mosques in the United States and Canada, of course, that are calling for jihad. August 2nd is a date that was been thrown out there.
Yeah, we've had it here too. Actually, on the streets, it's crazy. And they're getting away with it as well. They don't get done for it. And the worst thing about it as well is when they started doing this back in October, when Israel responded to the October 7th attacks. The police actually turned around and said, "Oh yeah, but it's okay because jihad has many other meanings." And they tried kidding the public by saying that jihad was a form of inner struggle, and that's what they were trying to say. But clearly, the Muslims that were calling for jihad had signs saying intifada, and they were calling for a holy war. They were calling for jihad to take over the country so they could implement Sharia law. And these police officers still tried spreading misinformation about what they were saying, what they meant, just to stick up for them, because they're scared of them. Essentially, we've seen the difference between policing at protests where there's white British people, they're there with riot shields, guns, you name it, police dogs, and then you go and look at videos that happened around the riots in Leeds, or the protests in Leeds, when children got taken away by social services and the community kicked off. The police officers ran away. They actually ran off away from these gangs of people that were causing trouble. There was about 20 officers that ran off and were caught on camera doing so. So we've seen the difference, yet they still deny it. But like you were saying, that jihad, calling for jihad, openly, nothing gets done for that. So you can call for jihad, but you can't say who the fuck is Allah. It don't make sense.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's just backward. It's and then that's by design. Again, the satanic right, California's satanic church, their goal is called uncreation, which is to do the exact opposite of that which is in scriptures, including the 10 Commandments. And so that's why we have everything that's completely backward, including the lockdown. Completely backward dictates that we're absolutely detrimental to your health. Everything's completely backward. And when you try to point out the obvious, proven facts, you're painted as enemy of the state.
Yeah, or a racist.
Yeah. Okay. So again, it's from popularizing to weaponizing. They've even called for these sodomites to start hunting Christians down recently. Like shoot, take up your guns and shoot. The same people saying don't have guns are telling these guys to, or these things to, use weapons. Sorry.
Hypocrites.
Yeah. And going to Disney. Recently, it's another one of my many shorts. I have about 2 to 3 dozen shorts that are either in the works or conceptual and all that have, I've had some tech issues at the time. I'm just overwhelmed. But one of them is to do the original Steamboat Willie and anyway, so there's no longer a copyright for those 2 cartoons. But even when I started doing it, and I did start doing that one, I noticed right away, I was looking for, my usual Hollywood things that I sift out. That was initiated by the academic research I was doing. So, and right away, even in these Disney cartoons, like from early 20th century, I saw like, whoa, wait a minute. And one of the things I saw was this. And now, just recently, I saw this game show that was having this as a question, saying that, and this was, I believe, in the 80s game show, saying that this was an issue, that Disney actually got in trouble for it. What I observed, which is udders that looked too big, is how the question puts it, but it was clearly phallic. If you see the cartoon, it's a short coming up. Keep an eye out for it. I've got all kinds of shorts coming up. I'm overwhelming people. If you only knew what's going on in my life. Yeah. So, and again,
wow.
yeah. I mean, it makes no damn sense. It's not even reality. It's not only perverse, but it's psychotic. It's surreal. It's psychedelic. And I fought against these things too. I've talked about before my Barnes and Noble experience, where I took a children's section in the impulse section. They put it up front and make sure the kids would grab it. All this blasphemous material. I took the whole stack of books and threw it in the toilet. Got away with that, thank God. Reported as a teacher to the librarian pedophile, the grooming books, and she got pissed off at me for doing it. But you know, yeah. And this was like, what was this? Over a decade ago, around 2010. No, actually, yeah, it was about almost 2 decades now. It was back in the 2000s.
You wouldn't think that would happen back then.
Yeah, back then. But we were one of the voices that were trying to warn people of being ostracized for it.
Wow.
Okay, and so this is another show I want to plug. This Chad Jackson, he does a great show on Sundays. I'm not a fan of watching stuff that is not religious on Sundays. I like to take a break, a spiritual break, for recharge their battery and get refocused if I can.
Yeah.
But these people are super Christian, even though they talk about one of the things I hate, which is racism. That's their focus. Regardless, they still keep pointing to Christ. So I commend them for that, and I encourage you guys to check it out. They are Trump supporters. Some people don't mind that. I'm not. I'm pro Christ. I'm not pro David. I'm not pro Trump. I'm not pro anybody but Christ. I know that offends some people, but you know, whatever. At any rate, yeah, check them out. I've got another short coming up with theirs. Just so you'll know, they're not Uncle Tom's or whatever. They're quite proud of their blackness and black heritage, but they also keep it real, which you gotta appreciate.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is from one of the streams. I gotta assume it's a Russian guy. Might be Ukrainian, but anyway, at any rate, he goes, roses are red, violets are blue. Aisha was 9, and the prophet, police be upon him, was 52.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah, to share that.
I heard one funny one earlier. This guy, I remixed it actually on the new channel, and he's going past an Indian that was in a skip, and he's wearing a turban. He's a Sikh, and he goes, "What do you call an Indian in a skip?" And the guy goes, "Oh, what is it?" And he says, "Rummaging." That made me laugh. That one. But yeah, little thing.
Yeah, another thing that's been going on. About now 2 months ago, the congressional hearings on Burla. Burla is the Pfizer CEO, Jew, head of Pfizer in Europe, who did the Europe Pfizer deal that forced the vaccines on everyone, the lethal serums. Yeah, but anyway, so what about Fauci? No, internet silence. Oh, by the way, let me share this. I had all these links that ran out of time. I might just keep on going with the stream because there's some things that I want to share. There's a couple links. I have just a few more links, so maybe I got 15 more minutes to go. But in the description, you can go on Rumble and check out the full thing. It was also multi-streamed on YouTube, and it went for 4 hours, and it was fine, but then it got shut down in 4 hours, and that was one of my flags. But yeah, these commie Nazi pagans need to be held accountable. This continued lethal serum is being pushed on. Now they got the new and improved serum that they're pushing, they're giving them to the elderly in nursing homes by force and all that. They're still muzzling the elderly, isolating them. You know,
now they're talking about monkeypox vaccines.
Yeah, they can kiss my grits.
Yep, I'm mine too.
Yeah, anyone who approaches me with that is going to be, well, I don't want to say, but I'm not tolerating any of that. Yeah, so we need to do our parts. We can't let this, go to the wayside and pretend this is the new norm. It's not the new norm. Do not allow it. Continue to push back. It is people like my cousin who has his own political party, by the way, and has been pushing back on this for years. People like him that are willing to sacrifice that made the difference. If we give into group thinking, wait for someone else to do it, then they'll continue to be getting away with this. We got to push back until Christ comes. Hopefully soon, because I can't take it anymore.
Exactly.
All right, so that's sorry.
I'll have to push on in a sec, but yeah, we'll cover one more before I go, and then obviously it'll be on the next one.
All right, so there was a video that let me share this one. I didn't want to cover the video, but we wouldn't have time. The one he shared with me from a few years ago. Total propaganda beast. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, we'll do that another time. That one's quite funny.
It's just absolute propaganda piece. I mean, you guys will see, man, but it's just insane how full of it these Taoists are. And the thing is, like, he's showing the proof that he's lying, why he's lying. And the idiots, the useful idiots and the Muslims and all that will buy into it anyway.
Yep, definitely.
So this is Milton Berle from the mid-20th century. TV. Look what he's dressed up as.
Oh, wow.
Milton Berle, man. This is the cornerstone. This is the golden age of television when everyone had a TV in their home in America. This is what every family was looking at. 1950s. Yeah. Sorry, I'm getting worked up, but it's just disturbing what we've allowed these Jews, God forgive me, to get away with for so long, generation after generation after generation.
We kind of got desensitized to it all, in all fairness.
Not only desensitized, if I'm going to be honest, I loved it. When I was like 12 years old, especially, there's a reason I like Marvel Comics. I remember reading Marvel comic Avengers, West Coast Avengers, no less, where Hawkeye, the purple green arrow from DC character, the Hawkeye, the bow and arrow guy, was spooning Tigra. She was like half woman, half tiger. And she's wearing a bathing suit, completely promiscuous. She's got his hands, one hand under her upper cleavage and his other hand going toward her bottom cleavage. This is like a comic book in the 80s, give or take. A comic kind of stuff that you would see in their comics.
Wow. For kids.
Yeah, for kids. Tits and ass all over the place. Forgive my language, but just so you understand.
Yeah. It's incredible.
Yeah. Should I show you a couple more, or should I let you go?
Yeah, sure. Show me a couple more, and then I'll have to wrap up.
So I've picked on everyone, and I did mention the Greeks earlier. Let me show you what the Olympics thing. Okay, so this guy is recently won a medal for wrestling in this Paris Olympics, which is a great accomplishment. Look what he's wearing. So for a non-Greek, this is kosher, let's say. So, but I got to point out it's red, turning red. All right, so okay, so, but yeah, also Frank Miller, actually, which I pitched my own comic book series to. Guy's creepy as hell, and recently passed away. Anyway, he did a mockery of this whole Spartan history thing, right? By a movie called The 300. He did a lot of things. Yeah. That was one of his big things that he did. So not in essence. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a good scenes in it, but overall, 300, they made a mockery of the historical event, and so and so basically, he's not only promoting, let's say, communism, arguably, or Satanism. What is it? Fire? It looks like his outfit is on fire. But he's kind of instead of wearing the sea blue and white with a cross Greek flag, he's wearing this crap to represent us.
Wow.
And then again, likewise, just one more, and this is swimmers. They got close to medaling. I don't think they medaled. Actually, no, they did. I think one of them medaled. Anyway, regardless, whatever medal or not, they're still on TV in Paris Olympics. representing Greece wearing this stuff. Come on. Sorry.
Well, it is. It's frustrating. I'd be the same. Well, we had the same problem when they changed the England flag or the logo to a rainbow-colored one. And
Oh,
with different
jeez.
colours.
Get you lacing.
Yeah, it's just no need for it. You know,
Yeah.
we didn't ask for it. Nobody wanted it, and you know, for a sport that's going to represent the majority of the country, why act as if you're just supporting the minority? You know, you should just leave things alone. Don't break or try to fix things that are not broken.
Yeah. You know, and there was another game show from the 80s, another survey. It's I have a short on it. In fact, I think that one hit a few thousand. And it's basically saying, hey, it's asking the question, should you remain? Or it was talking about actually, the guy from The Odd Couple. He had his own TV show where the character is gay, and this was from the 70s, the TV show. And they're asking people, would you like this character to be out in the open or to remain in a closet? Yeah. And so the majority vote is like a landslide, said remain in the closet. So that's what people really want. They keep it to yourself, your sexual behaviors, not force it on others with the alleged banner of open-mindedness and inclusiveness and tolerance. Sorry.
It's like you know, you see all these other men mincing around like Graham Norton. They walk funny, they sound funny, and it's just to show off that they like sticking their penises in men's asses. I don't get it. Sorry, but to me, it's just why talk, act, dance, walk like that just to show that you love men. Like, just you keep that stuff to yourself. I don't want to know. Nobody else wants to know. Like, whatever you do behind your bedroom door is entirely up to you. You don't need to force it on others.
Exactly.
And it's almost like nowadays it comes as a fashion statement. Look at me, I'm out the closet. You know, it's it's so strange. It is so strange. But there we go. This is the 21st century, and unfortunately, it seems like we're going backwards, not forwards.
Exactly. You know, for me, it's heartbreaking, man. Like, you know, I thought Greece was going to be the last bastion when it comes to Christianity, but it's falling apart. Like these swim team girls, instead of wearing the what they should be wearing, their national flag as an outfit, they're wearing their crossbones, a skull, a skeleton. And the other competition, the synchronized swimming, they did a yin and a yang. What, they're Buddhists now? What the hell is going on, man? I mean, it wasn't only like a couple of decades ago, Greece was 99% Christian.
That's incredible. Oh, dear. Welcome to the new today.
Yeah, the new norm. Anti-Christian norm. Pro-pagan.
The new norm isn't coming back, but Jesus is.
And those, again, we've touched on it a couple of times. We've seen it in Israel recently, in the recent Israel attacks. It woke up a lot of people. I already knew this. Many of us already knew this. We already know that Muslims, the first people they attack are not Jews and Christians. The first people they attack are atheists, agnostics, the absolute non-believers. They're hanging out at nightclubs and secular places and bashing people in the skull. They've been doing this forever.
Yep.
So when they attacked Israel, who did they attack first? The stupid freaking libtards right at their border, dropping acid, doing all kinds of designer drugs, talking about peace, solidarity with Islam. They were the first to get brutally butchered, violated in every way, paraded and advertised on the internet. The first to be victimized, just like communism, the first to get done away with, exterminated, as according to Yuri Bezmenov, ex-KGB, is the useful idiots. The same thing with Islam. Just because you say a Shahada or you're a libtard and want to show solidarity with pagans doesn't make you safe. Quite the opposite. Quite the opposite. You're the first to go.
Definitely. I better make a move now, Nico, because the room's opened up now on the next stream, so I better make my presence now. But thanks for having me on.
Yeah, and I'll join you guys there. Let me go and share the link to that live stream in the chat right now for anyone who wants to go there conveniently. I would switch it over. I'm going to keep this going until I jump on with you guys. I'll jump on that panel.
Sure.
But yeah, I can't. I don't have that ability. Unfortunately, you get a flag, they won't let you do that. But yeah, also it's in the description for your convenience. Please subscribe to the Patriotic Christian's new channel. I'm encouraging him, trying to push him to do the Rumble too, as also an alternative backup. But
Yeah, I've got the account, so I'll sort that. I will sort it.
Yeah, but yeah, please support him. Again, he's gonna be making his rounds. He's doing a lot of good work. Pray for him and for the people in UK, and for all of us. And please, people. And I'll yeah. Before you go, do you have any last words for the audience?
No, just thank you for continuing to support me. We'll keep fighting. We'll keep bouncing back. The more they try to suppress what I'm trying to do, the more I'll bounce back. So we'll keep going.
Yeah, and again, actually, one more quick minute. Yeah, again, thanks for being the bigger man. We had a falling out for those that have been following us. I reacted like an ass. I'm just call it what it is, and I was immediately embarrassed by it, and I still regret it. And I appreciate you forgiving me for that behavior, and
It's all good. We'll move forward.
Yeah. So yeah, man, I appreciate you. God bless you. Keep on keeping on, and yeah.
I'll see you on the next stream in a sec.
Yeah, man. Bless all those endure to the end. See you in a bit.
Definitely. Thank you, Nico. See you soon.
All right, guys. I'm going to keep it going for the next few minutes. I just have like about 3 more items, exactly 3 more items I want to show you guys, and then I'll also call it a night so I can join Eric over at the Cross and Crescent discussion group. Again, if you haven't subscribed to them, I have the link to the live stream that we're doing with Patriotic Christian. He'll be going on that stream to do an in-depth analysis of what's going on in the UK. Much more than we did here. That will be his focus. Here we're a little bit more doing catch-up more than anything else. But yeah, also subscribe to the Cross and Crescent discussion group. Those guys are covering some really cool stuff that many of the other apologists are not covering for whatever reason, including the United Nations involvement and supporting terrorism and all kinds of cool stuff like that. Likewise, Paul Sutliss, he goes on that panel. He's got his own stuff. He also works with Osama Doc extensively. Yeah, he does. He's been doing a line-by-line coverage of Sharia law and Reliance of the Traveler, which he always finds a way to make that entertaining. It's not always entertaining, but sometimes the stuff is just so insane. You can't help but laugh. It's just so crazy. So I encourage you to check that out. Subscribe to him as well. Yeah, and I'll see you guys over there. They're also on Rumble. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, they're also on Rumble. Yeah, and and this is all for the sake of YouTube and its common Nazi pagan censorship. We're being ushered out, just like in the jobs during the lockdown of the medical field and the policing and the military and all that. People were forced out. They're doing the same thing with WWIII. And using Ron DeSantis' Florida government protection of they gave the social media's algorithms absolute legal autonomy. So, and that's the excuse you're using. Well, it's the AI's fault. It's the AI's fault. It's going to be a mess, man. I feel bad for the younger generation, and many young people aren't. They're not all stupid. Many are hip to this, but some are not, and that's unfortunate. At any rate, so let's speaking of which, how continuing what we're saying about how just because you're one of them doesn't mean you're safe. Do you guys know the background of Anne Hesh? I'm going to share the link in the chat, but let's go ahead and take a look-see too. Yeah, recently she passed away, and she was she was a libtard, a Hollywood person, a star. She did one of my favorite, I think it was a HBO movie, Pie in the Sky. I actually had a crush on her. I had no idea she was swinging the other way, so to speak. At any rate, yeah, she recently did a movie about child sex trafficking of all things. And that was about to come out. I forgot what it's called. But it turns out that around that time that was supposed to come out, she dies in a mysterious car accident, controversial one. And her death, the cause of death, there was a live coverage, and I've posted this in one of my live streams. Live coverage, a news report, local news report, is a chopper flying around, videoing the accident, the scene of the accident, and they showed her being carried like completely covered up in a body bag on a stretcher, being pulled to the ambulance. And all of a sudden, she sits up and she breaks open the zipper and she's trying to fight everybody back. There was no burns on her. The first initial claim was she was burned to death. There was no burning marks on her. Now later they're saying, well, you know what? It wasn't really drugs either. It was just, well, she died of natural causes of an accident. They don't look like that to me in the news report. So what the hell's going on? Even their own, one of their superstars, one of their vocal speakers for all this pagan Nazi commie fascism is not safe. What's going on there? Maybe she had to change her heart, did this movie, and then became the enemy of the state, and they knocked her off. Just putting my tinfoil hat on, as they say. All right. I wanted to talk about my own interpretation of Revelations, the apocalypse. This is something that Patriotic Christian wanted to talk about before, and I was against it because I'm not a theologian. I'm not well versed enough to talk about that. But we'll premise that as an opinion. I won't do that now. Maybe we can. I'll table that and I'll ask him about it again. But you know, I will say this much. To me, the big players are U.S., UK. UK being the head of U.S. I know Patriotic Christian sees it the exact opposite. He says the U.S. Dictates what UK does. Israel, as we know, has very powerful roots worldwide, a lot of control all over the place. And now BRICS, which it seems you would think that Islam would be running BRICS, but because they got all the oil, or even Russia. But to me, it seems like China is now taking the lead in BRICS. So those three entities, and WWIII, which again equals or has the numeric value of 666 in Hebrew, the character Vav. So, I mean, you do the math. But to me, it's apparent that the UK is being crushed, maybe the head of the beast, the US having the mark of the beast, spawn the beast of the internet, WWW, and Israel may be the whore of Babylon riding the beast, controlling it, and is not being bucked by the beast, which is we see is going on right now. The US is disowning Israel. You know, it's the reason Israel got established and is still alive is the US and UK, but not these days. And we see that changing. And if Kamala Harris takes over, which she very likely will, that's definitely going to escalate. And then the BRICS taking over. You know, China threatening World War III and all this financial control and encroachment everywhere. Yeah, they're overthrowing everyone, including taking over mass media. Yeah, it's getting ugly, folks. And by the way, BRICS, they're all pagan. They're all anti-Christian. The Chinese are communists, but I've been working with them for years. I'm telling you, they might even arrest Muslims, but they promote Islam. There might be a war with India, but they or Tibet, but they promote Hinduism. They promote everything under the sun except for Christianity. They will celebrate Christmas, and by Christmas I mean Xmas. No Jesus, just the Christmas tree and presents. Think about that. All right, folks. I'm going to leave it at that because I want to take a quick break and then join those guys on Cross the Crescent discussion group on their panel. Again, the links are in the description. Please remember to subscribe to both of them. Cross-Aggressive Discussion Group, Thank Me Later. Again, they're doing some really good work over there every Monday now. It used to be Sundays, but now they're doing it every Monday. And also, of course, Patriotic Christian and Paul Sutliff. I'll remember to add his on the description as well. And Osama Didactic. I believe it's a Straightway Ministries or something like that. I keep getting messed up, but I'm pretty sure it's Straightway Ministry. He's done some amazing work. I'll be having him on when I want to make sure I have a nice tight ship to have him on, but he'll be on my channel too, doing an interview soon, which I can't wait. But looking forward to that for a while too. And maybe Eric as well, or maybe he'll have me on his. I'm not sure. We'll see. But anyway, thank you again, everyone. God bless. And, just remember, at the end of the day, we're all people. We're all susceptible to the passions. So that's why Paul warns us. Keep the armor of God on. Pray unceasingly. Keep your noose. The greatest of 2 commandments. I'll give you 2 words, and I'll put that in chat. These are all the law hangs on these 2 things. Noose, and that is your relationship with God, and koinonia. That is your relationship with each other. All the law hangs on these 2 greatest of commandments. All right, folks. Thank you again. God bless. Keep on keeping on. And remember, blessed are those who endure unto the end. I see.